This was my fourth day of squatting in a row, so I've squatted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday so far this week. And this 1 by 20 programs, I feel like it's really going to work for me. I got no knee pain at all today, which I was really happy about. And yesterday's session, I got, I think it was 80 kilograms for like a set of 17 or 18. And I got 20 on 80 kilograms today, so I jumped up to 90 and got 15 reps on my last set, which you'll see. And yeah, it felt good. I felt confident going into the hole. I was considering switching to like a different squat variation today, but because front squats felt so good yesterday, I stuck with it. And I was reading some of Angus Bradley's work on squatting and keeping your centre of mass back. And with a front squat, that's easier to do because the more the weight's loaded in front of you, the more it creates a shift backwards in your centre of mass, so it's much easier to hit depth. So I just stuck with these. I think I'm going to front squat more often than I back squat, even though my goal is to back squat 220. Because I'm trying to get this change in technique, which is part of the reason I'm doing the 1 by 20 program. While I'm learning this movement, even though I've been training for like 10 years, I feel like I need to learn it again. So sticking with the front squat now a bit more frequently than the back squat. I'll probably still back squat twice a week, maybe one pause and one normal, and then front squat the rest of the time. But I'm going on holiday next week, so I'll come back from that and then take some time to get a more structured program put together, because this week's been reasonably unstructured, even though I've got these rough guiding principles that I'm trying to stick to, like squatting every day, the 1 by 20 program, and then the exercises that I do outside of my squat training is structured. I'm still following the Strong Physiques program that I wrote a few weeks ago now. So yeah, I was happy with this. I'll squat again tomorrow. I'll probably back squat tomorrow and see if I can hit a new 20 rep max on back squat. And then I'm away on holiday for a week in Greece. So yeah, I'll come back from that and then try and get some more structure to my training again. What I've been thinking about a lot recently is the differences in training between powerlifting and bodybuilding. Because I know powerbuilding has become a really popular type of training, which is like a combination of powerlifting and bodybuilding. And what I really like about powerbuilding is the focus it puts on getting stronger, which is what you should be trying to do, even if you're just training for hypertrophy anyway. Maybe just in a slightly higher rep range, because the skill element of a 1RM is different to just trying to get mechanical tension on the muscle to grow it. But what I don't like about powerbuilding is you spend a lot of time committed to the big three lifts: squat, bench, deadlift, and you do a lot of heavy singles there, which is fine to get stronger. But when we're trying to train for hypertrophy, range of movement is really important, because that's going to lead to higher mechanical tension as well. So I almost want to, like, with my Strong Physiques program, I almost want to take the emphasis away from squat, bench, deadlift. And when I'm talking about powerlifting, people normally do low bar back squats, where the range of movement is even less. The pelvis moves back and forward more, and it ends up looking more like a deadlift than a squat. And I've posted about this and spoken about this in previous videos. Like, with our squat, we're trying to get our pelvis to drop straight down, straight up, and with our deadlift, we're trying to get it to go straight backwards and straight forward. So I want to keep with my Strong Physiques program. I really like the message of getting stronger, but I think my key lifts are going to turn into movements like this, for example, like a front squat hill elevation with a hill elevation, to get that pelvis moving straight up and down, maximise range of motion at the knee, because that's going to grow our quads. And then for our deadlift, and maybe instead of like sumo or conventional deadlift, just RDLs. So again, we're trying to get our pelvis as far back and as far forward as we can. And that's going to load our glutes and hamstrings. So if we focus on just those two movements, that's pretty much like lower body ticked off. Obviously, there are some other differences, like with exercise selection, because you can get regional hypertrophy. So stuff like, leg extensions to train your rec fem, leg curls to train the short head of the hamstring, which doesn't get much work from an RDL. There's those kind of differences when you were looking at bodybuilding or hypertrophy training. But yeah, the power building I'm a fan of, but I think it's got a few limitations when you're trying to develop a good physique as well. So yeah, getting strong on those two, like the purest form of squat and hinge. And I think I'm going to see some big differences in my physique development from doing that, and hopefully whoever joins the online program as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, where I'm at with the power building stuff and the kind of direction I'm going to start to take the online program in. And then, yeah, still toying with this idea of frequency, squat every day. That's not going to be good for most individuals, but I feel like for me, it's a good thing at the moment. So I'm going to keep going with it. One of the questions I got asked yesterday by one of my friends who saw that I'd been posting about this squat everyday stuff, he was like, how do you recover between sessions? And it's a really interesting question because it's been studied quite a lot. And from my understanding of the research, and I was listening to Eric Helms talk about this, there's never ever been a case of reported overtraining in athletes that just strength train. And I'm trying to remember some of these studies, but they got guys to build up to like a 1RM and then take off 5% and can continue to do like singles or doubles for like 10 sets each day. And they did that for a really long time, and no one displayed symptoms of overtraining, and they all just got stronger. And then the other thing I've been listening to is Menno Henselmans, and he looks at muscle protein synthesis. So, like the way you build a bigger muscle is you apply mechanical tension to it. That increases muscle protein synthesis, which is like the signal to grow new tissue. And in trained athletes, that is back to normal by about 24 hours. So, for strength or hypertrophy, I don't see why squatting every day wouldn't get me bigger and stronger. We definitely know it will get you stronger because it's that brain training, the neural adaptations that we're getting from practicing the skill of the movement every day. But it's not often spoken about from a hypertrophy perspective, but I think it's got equal utility there. But when you look at typical hypertrophy or bodybuilding programs, to get the required volume in per week, like it would just take too long to train every muscle group every day. So it's more time efficient to break up those movement patterns or muscle groups into other days and do more like working sets once you've already warmed up. So like if you take my squat today, for example, it took me 20 minutes, I think, to get through what was effectively just 2 working sets in the end. Probably my set on 80, my set on 90. And if you went through that for every movement pattern or every muscle group, you'd end up being in the gym for ages. So yeah, then again, just getting my thoughts out. That is where I'm at the moment. Though I would like to play around with a full body 5-day split, but it would just be trying to keep session duration down. And I think in terms of like exercises per session, I think if 4 is the sweet spot. Any more than that, my sessions end up being too long, or my levels of exertion drop towards the end of the session. So in today's session, I did squat overhead press, RDL. Then I did flat dumbbell bench press and bent over dumbbell row, so 5 exercises. But these last 2 here, these sets, the bench went alright, but the dumbbell rows just felt like I was just going through the motions and wasn't getting that much tension out of the sets. So I think 4 is the sweet spot. So when I update the Stronger Physiques program after the first 4 weeks of training are done, that's going to be the kind of stuff that I'm playing around with. And then what's been really missing in my training at the moment is my conditioning. So I'm going to run a bleep test today, and that will give me an idea of kind of my base level of fitness, where I'm at, and give me some training paces. And then hopefully, now that I feel like I come back on track and I've got on top of this knee pain, I can start to get my conditioning up as well. So yeah, I was really happy with how this session went today. Like I said, back in the gym tomorrow, try and hit a 20 rep max on back squat. It would be nice to get somewhere near 100. Then I'm on holiday for a week. I'll probably end up thinking about how my training's going out there, reflect on it a bit, and come up with a few new ideas for this next block of training. But I intend on sticking with the squat every day when I come back. Continue sticking with the 1x20 program. Yes, they spoke about like doing that for 3 weeks and going to 1x15 and 1x10. So that might be the sort of progression that I look to follow. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a break and then getting stuck back into training when I get back.